Good morning, everybody. Today's March 22nd, second day of spring in the northern hemisphere. And Mother Nature did not waste any time. Tornadoes and severe extreme weather in a long line of thunderstorms, severe thunderstorms. Pretty much everything on the menu continues today where it left off yesterday. However, looks like today could be more eventful than yesterday. So we're going to be tracking these storms, for as long as we need to, as long as I can. Got some of my best apps available. We're going to go in close and watch for these tornadoes to spawn, because it's not a question of if they're going to. It's simply a question of when. And as this sun comes up, and it's starting to come up in these areas that you see on the map, you're looking at the severe thunderstorms moving from Texas over into Louisiana. And that's where a lot of the activity is going to be today. We can see long track tornadoes in these areas. And I'm going to be right here on top of it, giving you guys play-by-play and which communities to be on the lookout. The second we see a tornado, or at least the possibility of a vortex on the ground, using this radar here, which is it's very good. It gets right down to the nitty-gritty. It tells you what you need to know. So we're going to be watching for tornadoes. You obviously see there's severe thunderstorms in the areas right now. What else we got going on? Here's just a map over at windy.com. You can kind of get a bigger perspective of where these storms are at, moving through Texas, going into Louisiana, and up into Arkansas. Mississippi's going to see activity today, more so in the nighttime hours. You can see the map over here at the Storm Prediction Center and where this extreme activity could occur today. And they've got a large area you can see here expecting tornadoes. They're literally expecting tornadoes today, not necessarily, like I said, if, but when. You can see power outages starting to increase in the state of Texas. We're going to be, keeping an eye on this as well. We'll just change color, so that means there are more power outages than the map was before I just showed you. So we're up to 52,000 customers in Texas, over 10,000 in Oklahoma, 9,000 in Arkansas, and 5,600 in Illinois and Kansas. So back to the weather map. This is what I want to focus on today. I want to focus on this map right here. This is going to tell us what's going on. Over here on the left, this is what's known as a correlation coefficient map. And I know what to look for over here on this map with regard to tornado signatures on this map. So we're watching closely over here the correlation coefficient, and we can see when there's tornadoes developing or in certain areas. And then we'll come over to the conventional radar, and we'll follow these storms. Hopefully they're not going into, any cities per se, but, this is a very densely populated area. So there are going to be tornadoes. So have a plan today, guys. If you're in any of these areas, Louisiana, Texas, these storms are covering a wide area. And again, once the sun comes up, these storms are going to grow taller. And they're going to develop into supercell thunderstorms, and we'll be able to look at the cloud tops. I'll pull up some radar. We'll see these things start to just reach for the skies, and you'll see some 60,000 foot storms today. Just an unbelievable weather system. You have a classic setup. You have cold air colliding with hot air, and it's very normal for the spring. It happens, and it's happening today, happened yesterday. It's probably going to happen tomorrow in these same areas. Tornado warnings right now, tornado watch expires in 29 minutes. You can see that's over in Texas, spanning from the just north of College Station here down to just north of Victoria, over to Lake Jackson. I just added a marine warning right there. And this updates like, I don't know, every 3 minutes, 5 minutes, depending on the situation. Sometimes it updates more than that. Going up to just east of Lufkin and then over to Crockett. This area here, which includes Houston, League City, still under a tornado watch. Effective this morning, 1 a.m. to 8 a.m. That would be local time. And it's about to expire here in around 30 minutes. I believe it's 7:30 a.m. in the Houston area. Go back and read that warning. I think the possibility for large hail today is very great. You might see some record hail today. Wouldn't doubt it at all. Hail, look at it like this. The taller the storm tops, the bigger the hail. Effective Tuesday from 1 to 8 a.m. Intense, let's see, a couple intense tornadoes possible. Scattered, damaging winds. Isolated, significant gusts of wind, basically straight line winds, 75 mile per hour. That's hurricane force. Isolated large hail, 1.5 inches in diameter possible. Wouldn't be surprised if the hail later on today does not get bigger. Squall line should begin to accelerate east out of the south central Texas area, southeast Texas area, pre-dawn. That's right now. And these things are going to intensify as we move through the morning. These storms are going to get stronger, believe it or not. A few embedded supercells may develop ahead of this line. Main threats should be tornadoes and damaging winds. A tornado watch is approximately along, that's the area I just showed you. That's the big red rectangle there. And then we've got another one over here extending into Louisiana. This one's probably for, the next 6 hours. This is where the action's going to happen, guys, this morning. It should start to happen anytime soon. So if you're in, let's see, the Port Arthur area, Beaumont, I know that's still in the Texas area, but that's included in this tornado watch that more than likely will become a tornado warning here soon. We're going to be keeping an eye again over here on this map over here on the left. And I know the signatures to look for over here on the left with regard to tornadoes as they are developing. And then we'll come over here to this map and see which towns that they're headed possibly for, if any. Hopefully not, but it's probably going to happen. So have a plan. Interior room. This, since it's your first rodeo, I know you guys that are in this area, you're used to hurricanes. You're used to this type of, extreme weather. But, when it happens, I've been in tornadoes. I know. I've been in a couple. That adrenaline really gets going, and just have a plan. Interior room with no glass. Basement, if you have it, would obviously be the best. But interior room with no glass. Have a plan. Again, Beaumont, Port Arthur, Lake Charles, extending. Well, this is a long one here. All this area here. See this? Going down into far southeastern Texas, all the way up into the Rayville area, St. Joseph, north of Vicksburg. Big area. It's a tornado watch because they are anticipating as the sun comes up, and it's coming up right now, starting to get daylight. In fact, I'm sure it is daylight in these areas. Once that heating starts kicking in, the daytime heating, boy, these storms are going to really start reaching for the skies. Hail right here, 1/2 inch, not that big. Hail's going to get bigger. If you guys see any large hail, if you're in these areas and you can safely, send pictures, always welcome pictures. We like to confirm these storms when we see them on radar. Again, safety's the main concern here. Don't ever put yourself in a situation. But if you see large hail or things like that after the fact, you could see some record hail today. No kidding. Baseball size hail, pretty easy, based off of the energy associated with these storms. A lot of convection. Just a classic spring setup here, but when they're forecasting tornado outbreaks, possible outbreaks and possible long track tornadoes, it's a pretty big deal. So you got to stay on it. You got to, stay alert. Pay attention to your local forecast. I'm going to stay on it myself. And again, when we see the radar over here start to indicate possible tornado activity, we're going to be on it. We're going to zoom right in on it. I've got some webcams that we're going to try to use in areas to track some of these storms. I'm over here looking at the storm. This is in the infrared. Try to refresh it. Let me see what the visible looks like. We'll see these cloud tops start to soar here. Yeah, here we go. The sun should start to be coming up soon. Where's the sun at? There it is. Yeah, it's coming in from right to left. That would be east to west. And these storm tops, boy, they're going to reach up into the easily 50, 60,000 foot range. No problem. No problem at all. Here's Louisiana. This is up off the I-20. This would be, I think, up by Lakeshore. Let's see, Vicksburg in that area. Right now, just rain. Nothing too severe going on at the moment. But that is, of course, subject to change very quickly as these storms are starting to get their act together. Hang on just a minute, guys. There we go. All right, we are just waiting. We are simply waiting for the. Here we go. Here's a new warning. Severe thunderstorm warning expires in 22 minutes. Let's zoom in to this area. All right, we've got some very tall cloud tops right there, just south of Chatham. And that would be moving at a east-northeasterly direction. Those are very tall. There's large hail in this area right here. See by my cursor right there? That pink, that is very large hail. And that's right there. That's a classic indication right there. Let me show you here. Lightning, but we're looking at the cloud tops start to reach, and we're going to see more and more of that pink on this map. And once they reach to those incredible heights, they're reaching up and they're making that's a hail factory right there you're watching. Let's see what the severe thunderstorm warning says from the national. The text is currently unavailable. This is a brand new storm warning, just appeared on the map. So we'll try to dissect it ourselves here, just east of Dobson. Okay, if you're in this yellow rectangle going up to Monroe, that would be in Louisiana. Chatham right now is an area that's very close, in fact, on the south side of Chatham. I'm sure that you guys are getting heavy downpours, quite possibly large hail, high winds. That's just one of many that we'll probably see today. Eros on the northern edge of this the squall line that's forming right there. Coming over here to Chatham, we're going to look at the I don't see any tornado signatures with this right just yet. Okay. Which is good, but there's no tornado signatures yet. Hopefully there won't be any. I know there's going to be some today, but at least not right now. And that's the thing, I know it's daylight in this area, but, there's never a good time for tornadoes, but if they do have to occur, which they do, it's just part of the world that we live in, I guess it's best to have them during the daytime when you can kind of see them coming. Tornadoes at night when it's dark, it's just a severe disadvantage, if you're asleep, that's just not fair. So we need people watching these things and watching the radar, and, especially when it's dark. And then during the daytime, of course, as well, it's very important. This one here is gaining momentum. You're seeing more pink on the radar here. Wow, that's a tall storm. In fact, I'll show you how tall that one is. See there? Watch. 60,000 foot. There's one already. Just getting started. Sun up. 60,000 footer. There you go. Oh boy. You know, I saw one on here one time that was 72,000 feet. 72,000 feet. And there was definitely large hail on that day, and that was a few years ago. That's a big old tall boy right there. Wow. Get ready, guys. Have a plan if you're in Louisiana, pretty much all of Louisiana, southeastern Texas. That's what the radar looks like right now. You can see there's a huge area of tornado watches. I'm trying to stay focused on this area right now, just south of Chatham, because I'm seeing a familiar signature right here that represents strength. And there is a lot of activity south of Chatham. That would be Chatham, Louisiana. That's an extreme storm right there. It's an extreme component that's moving. Let's see what we can find the speed, if that will show us the speed. I think that'll show us just yet. Trying to get the specifics on this storm from the National Weather Service. Anyway, that's a severe thunderstorm warning that's in effect for the next 30 minutes in this area. These storms are moving fairly quickly. If there is a good thing about these storms, which there's typically not, you know, they do help with drought, I guess, in some areas, but not the severe component. But the severe side of these storms are moving very quickly. Looking over here, we're looking for a tornado signature. It's what I'm looking for over here on the left. Wow, that's a tall boy, man. That's a big old storm. You know it. Okay. No tornado there. That's good. That's a good thing. So, trust me, if they're on there, I'm going to let you know. I can tell when there's a tornado, right? And there's not one. There's not one right now. But if there is a tornado anywhere on that map that's forming, I'll let you know. That way you can head for your safe zone. Interior room, you know, with no glass. It's just common sense. You guys know the drill. Stay away from glass because it can break. Because when there's high winds, there's obviously going to be projectiles. Those projectiles can penetrate walls and easily penetrate glass. And it's not necessarily the wind and the storm that can harm you. It's the flying debris. So as long as you can protect yourself from the flying debris, and as long as you're not in a flood zone, obviously, and, you know, common sense will keep you safe. Common sense. Stay away from any types of windows that obviously can break. There are heavy downpours associated with these storms. Some areas are seeing storm rates, and we'll look at those later, of 2 inches per hour. I mean, those are strong downpours. Strong downpours, but I'm keeping an eye out for tornadoes over here. That's a severe thunderstorm warning that expires in 22 minutes. And we're going to see a lot of those throughout the morning and all day. It's not going to be this is a long duration event. Looks like a flood-ish warning here. Let's check this one out. South of Shreveport. This area we see right here. Yeah, flash flood warning expires in 15 minutes. Now, no text yet because it's just occurred. So they just issued a flash flood warning. And that's what I was talking about earlier about the rainfall rates. Some of these storms are very, very wet. 2 inches per hour rainfall rates. I mean, that's a gully washer. All right, from San Augustine, and that is in Louisiana, all the way up to Stonewall, and just east of Stonewall. And as you can see here, that is south of Shreveport, Louisiana. But again, all this the energy is moving to the east-northeast, so you know it's going to be moving through Louisiana, I think, all day long. New Orleans, I know, is a very densely populated area. Baton Rouge, you guys can see tornadoes today. Jackson, Mississippi, Hattiesburg, Mississippi, Lafayette, St. Charles. All of those areas are tornadoes could easily appear today. The atmosphere could easily produce tornadoes. Easy. Big old updrafts, the collision of hot and cold air. Not necessarily hot, but you know what I mean. Warm air, cold air creates a storm boundary where they collide, and these things soar. Sometimes the energy just soars up, like we're seeing. Here we saw earlier the storm over here by Chatham. We'll go back into it, see what it's doing. This should be updating here anytime. No tornado signature associated with that storm, but that reached. That's just an early indication of what these things are going to do. Right there, that went up to. Let me go back and check the height on that now. Yeah, that was a 60,000. 54 at its peak, right there, 60,000 foot. So that's probably one of many that we'll see today, right here in the Chatham area, south of Chatham. Yeah. See how quickly it came? Still out there. There's a squall line right here from Eros, east of Chatham, and then it's kind of in a sparsely populated area, which is good. But it's moving very quickly to the east-northeast. Some of these storms are moving, you know, anywhere from 40, 45, 55 miles an hour. Those are some very quick-moving storms. Last time I saw storms moving at that pace, it was in this area, believe it or not. A couple of years ago, I think, through Mississippi, there were twin, and you guys may remember it. That's why I want to watch over here on the left on my the coefficient, because you can see the formation of tornadoes over here. I got enough time looking at that radar. I know what to look for. And I saw the twin tornadoes form in Mississippi, and they were on the ground for a very long period of time. Large tornadoes, I believe at least EF3, possibly EF4 tornadoes that left a long track through central Mississippi. And we could see that again today. We could see long track tornadoes again today. Atmospheric conditions are favorable for that, guys. So that's just something else to keep an eye out for. Here we go. We got a tornado warning. Let's check and see. I think that's what we're looking at here. Yeah, tornado warning. This is a new one. No text available because these are happening so fast. But we'll go to the area. We don't need the text. We can figure it out ourselves. We're going to Warren. All right, here we go. So they've seen something, and I'll show you what they saw. All right. Hang on. I'll show you where it's at. Might have to stop it, step it one at a time. A lot of clutter. If anything, it would be east of Warren, looks like. Doesn't look like it's a very heavily populated area. That's very challenging to read. Very challenging. Sometimes you can see debris on here lifted up here. And that's what that reminds me of, debris, but that's not debris. Okay. So they just issued a tornado warning, and that would be this area here. That would be west of Kirbyville, in just south and east of Warren, and that would be in Louisiana. So if you're in those areas, which it doesn't look like, it's a very densely populated area, which is good. We don't ever want to see tornadoes go towards, somebody's home. I've seen that back in 1995. I was driving down the highway, and that's right near the Texas-Louisiana border, in fact. That might be, boy, it's so difficult to tell. It's right on the Texas-Louisiana line. But that is a new tornado warning. And it's very difficult to read the map at that particular point because it's right on the edge of the storm. So there's a lot of clutter here because that's the storm. There's a boundary line right there, and it's got a lot of, for lack of a better word, static. So it's difficult to see the tornado signature embedded in this particular map. Like if it were over here, you'd be able to see it, and I'll point it out to you if we see one. But right now, tornado warning expires in 23 minutes. Again, this is happening so quickly that I'm probably having a hard time keeping up with the exact details, at least on this map. Here's another, so that's the flash flood warning south of Shreveport. All of this is going to be moving to the, and it is moving to the north-northeast. I'm watching for these tornadoes, guys, because they're coming. The atmosphere is prime for tornadoes. And I wouldn't be surprised if there are not multiple tornadoes on the ground at the same time. Easily. So we're going to be tracking these things the very best that we can. And if there are any communities that I see that are in the path of these tornadoes, I will definitely let you know. So I'm going to stay on it as long as I can. I know it's early in the morning, and I wanted to get on here early. I looked at it earlier. I got up early this morning around, I don't know, 3:45, 4 o'clock. Looked at the map, and I did see a tornado warning when I got up. And tornado warnings, during the overnight hours are, like I said, just so unfair. You don't have a chance to even see these things. So by the time I got set up and everything, the tornado warnings, had expired, which was good. And now we're seeing kind of it's in a recycle phase. And once this heating, this daytime heating, starts to warm these storms, and that warm air gets even stronger, interacting with the cold air, you're going to see more storms, and that's just more fuel for tornadoes. So they're going to happen, but, nobody's psychic that I know of here that can say exactly where they're going to happen. It's just conditions are favorable, very favorable for tornadoes in these areas. Sure. But I remember, I think it was 2020? I don't know, 2019, maybe 2020. There were two. They called them the twin tornadoes in central Mississippi. And I watched those things on radar unfold, and it was just unbelievable how long they were on the ground. And you could see debris on over here, the map I have on the left. That's why I have it up, because it's very useful tracking tornadoes. This one over here on the left is. You can see debris in the atmosphere. Yeah, and there were storm chasers in the area that could smell the leaves being shredded off of trees. You could just smell the vegetation being thrown through the atmosphere. Pretty wild. Pretty wild. Let's go over. What's it look like over here? I'm just going to switch radars just for a minute. That's too far over. Okay, Mississippi. Let's go up here. Let's go here. Same thing. Just thinking out loud here, guys. We got a coastal marine warning here, probably because of the high winds. That expires in an hour and a half. This orange corral you see right here, that's a coastal marine warning. Just advising mariners along the coast in this area that, probably wouldn't be a good idea to get your boat out the next hour and a half because of the high winds, and it creates conditions that are not necessarily favorable for especially small boats. Looking at a new tornado warning here, I believe. What do we have here? Yeah, tornado warning expires in 19 minutes. Tornado warning remains in effect until 8:15 a.m. local time. That would be for another 19 minutes. Southeastern Tyler, northeastern Hardin, and central counties at 7:53 a.m. A severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado was located near Village Mills, or 8 miles east of Wildwood, moving northeast at 50 miles per hour. Boy, that thing is really moving. Hazard tornado, radar indicated rotation. Flying debris will be dangerous, and that's what we talked about earlier. Flying debris, that can break glass. Sometimes flying debris can even penetrate walls, so exterior walls. So it's best to be behind interior walls. So that expires in 20 minutes, basically. Take cover now. Move to a basement interior room on the lowest floor of a sturdy building. Avoid windows. See, that's what they're, obviously recommending here. And it's just common sense. You guys know all of that. So let's go over here and look for well, that's tough to read. But I'll see it if it's in there. Maybe right over here, right there. That would be in this area, right in here. So we watch. We're watching for a tornado to form in that area. Hopefully not. Kirbyville would be in the path of this particular storm system. It's west of Warren. East of Warren, west of Kirbyville. Pretty much in a remote, fairly remote area. It's a new tornado warning. Expires in 17 minutes. That's out of the National Weather Service out of Lake Charles. There's Beaumont down here. Lake Charles should be out over here. So Lake Charles will see some activity today as well. It's very early on. Again, this is going to continue all day long. It's a big stage today. Pull out and see what this is looking like. No new warnings except for the tornado warning. Still got the flash flood warning up here. Rainfall rates in some areas were 2 inches per hour, which will create flash flooding pretty quick. You can see heavy rain up in the Texarkana area, Longview, Gilmore, Hugh Springs. The darker color you see right in here, that's very heavy rain. Don't know the exact rainfall totals, but one thing we can do, see the cloud tops, they're in the consistently in the 40, 49, 44, 42. There's obviously a little bit of hail in there, not necessarily the large hail, but pretty good size. There we go. Could be a record day. Again, the sun's up now in these areas. Let's look and see what we got going on. Yeah, daylight. See the sun starting to hit these cloud tops. But then the storms, the heavy rain we were just looking at up into Arkansas. Here comes the sun. It's up. And these storm tops, once the afternoon, or not afternoon, even late morning thermals, the heating will cause these storms to reach up and get even taller. Get those big old tall boys. From the National Weather Service. This is for today, Convective Outlook, March 22nd of 2022. A lot of twos. Moderate risk of severe thunderstorms, southwest eastern Louisiana, central and southern Mississippi. So Mississippi, you're definitely in the path of this activity today. Just hasn't got there yet, but it's coming. Far western Alabama, that would be later on today. This is just a summary from the National Weather Service, and you can see the map that they've put together showing the areas that we're watching right now as I do this video. And again, this is for the entire day. And by the time, this afternoon, this evening get here, it's going to be an extended tornado, possibility for mini tornadoes through this area. This is the area right here where there were 2 tornadoes on the ground at the same time. I remember that like it was yesterday. I think it was 2019, 2018. Big tornadoes. Did a lot of damage. I think they're on the ground for 75 miles. Let's see. Regional severe weather outbreak appears likely across the lower Mississippi Valley and central Gulf states today, with some threat continuing into tonight all day long. Tornadoes, some of which could be strong and potentially widespread damaging winds, will be the most impactful hazards. They were talking about some of these storms being, long track tornadoes, in which we've seen those before. Let's see, high winds, quite a bit of information here, but the bulk of the context is, tornadoes. And they're talking about these robust updrafts. And that's what I was talking about with regard to the, the lower level, mid-level, especially the lower level jet. Lower level jet colliding, with the cold air, that creates storms, man, and big, tall boys walking through here that can sling a lot of large hail, big old hail. See, it's already raining here. This is up off the I-20. This would be, where are we at here? Look at the map. It is in north central Louisiana, near Lakeshore, University of Louisiana, Monroe. Let me find one here. Yeah, it's raining pretty good. Start to see the wind pick up a little bit. This is near Monroe. I don't think there's a severe component there yet, but it's more than likely, starting to head that way. Yeah, you can see Monroe right there. It's just on the edge of that severe weather line, tornado watch, and that big corral you see right there. Looks like the tornado watch down in the Houston area has expired. Still got the one over here into moving all across south central Louisiana, right on the edge of Mississippi. Still early yet. And then this will move later on today over into Mississippi, more than likely including Jackson, Mississippi, and all of the surrounding communities. This is, again, just getting started. So it's going to be a long day with regard to severe weather. So you're going to have to pay attention to the local weather, and whoever you guys like to follow. I've been following storms for, a long time. Since my first hurricane in 2004. Actually, the tornado I was in was in 1995. But back then, we didn't have this type of radar that was available, to look at and take classes, learn how to read these things. And because, it doesn't, over here, especially the one over here on the left, it doesn't look like this has any helpful information, but it does. This can be very helpful. It can tell you exactly where a tornado's at. So that's why I have that one up today. I don't usually have this one up. I usually just have the base reflectivity, which you see over here on the right. And it shows lightning and, different types of intensity with regard to cloud tops and whatnot. But this one over here shows tornadoes on the left. So we're watching. We're waiting. Yeah, I've been at this for a long, long time. So here we go. Sorry, guys. I'm just kind of Looking like a possible tornado signature west of Warren, east of Warren. It's going to start changing very rapidly here soon because as the sun gets higher and higher in the sky, it's going to get those cloud tops to reaching way up high. I think it's 8 o'clock now in the Louisiana area, Houston area, 8 o'clock. Just have a plan today, guys. For real. Conditions are really favorable for tornadoes and large hail and straight line winds. These storms are moving very fast, but they're going to keep recycling all day long. The atmosphere itself is going to continue to produce this type of favorable activity that will generate tornadoes. Could see a lot of tornadoes today. In fact, yesterday, how many were there? I know there were quite a few reports of tornadoes in Texas, and one, I believe, in Arkansas. Let's see here. See what we can find. And you guys, are there any of those areas? I'm sure, obviously know to a greater extent. Let's look at yesterday's map. I'll show you guys what I found with regard to tornado activity yesterday. And here we go. Quick look at the tornadoes that were reported yesterday, and some of these could be, the same tornado. One north of Dallas in southern Oklahoma. And then look at this string of tornadoes. South of Austin, north of Austin, north and west of Houston. Look at that. How many we got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 18, 19, counting the one up here in southern Oklahoma. That's yesterday. And it's the same system, same exact system right here that you see moving into Louisiana, southern Arkansas, eventually over into Mississippi. That's the same system that produced all those tornadoes at work today. It's back at it. And as the sun comes up and as the sun angle gets higher in the sky, I'm talking, 9 o'clock in the morning, 10 o'clock in the morning, 11, high noon. That's right around peak solar for the day. It's going to warm those cloud tops, and they're going to reach for the stars, man. So when they do, they're going to produce spin-ups. They're going to produce large hail, high winds. So any of these areas here, especially the big red rectangle you see, we're watching over here on the left. I'm watching for specific signatures over here that imply rotation. That's what I'm looking for, is rotation. And it usually, well, you can tell if it's on the ground because you'll see clutter. There's a lot of clutter over there on that one right now, unfortunately, so it's hard to read it. In an area, say like this, you can easily spot a tornado. Easily. And if there's one there, I'll let you know. And you can tell if there's debris, believe it or not, in the atmosphere. I remember following debris with those twin tornadoes. Yeah, created two long tracks. And the debris was very prominent on the radar above those tornadoes. No joke. And there was a guy on the ground following those tornadoes, and he could smell the vegetation. The tornadoes were so strong that it was stripping trees, which they do a lot in strong tornadoes, stripping a lot of trees of all of their leaves, and the leaves were rotating in the tornado. And the man was, very observant, and he said he could smell the leaves, and that's how he knew. And this was at nighttime, and he knew by that smell that there was a tornado in the area. It's from the vegetation. You could smell the vegetation being chewed up by the tornado, literally. So much so that it transported several miles, and he was several miles away from it and could smell it. That was the first time I'd ever heard somebody, use that type of reference. They could smell the tornado activity because it was at night. So you had to use your senses to, chase the storm. Pretty smart. Tornado warning here expires in 3 minutes. And I don't see anything in that area right now. I'm sure they saw rotation of some sort, but that's got a lot of clutter. It's next to impossible to read. I can read it here. As this thing moves to the east, this will clear out a little bit, and we'll be able to definitely see tornado signatures in these areas, especially up here in the Shreveport, Gary City, Huxley, Ruxton, Martin. Lightning is pretty prevalent, but it's just getting started. Kind of hung around all night long, and it will strengthen as we move through the day. It's a daytime heating. Let's see if it moves to the northeast. It's tornado warning. Be surprised if it does. I don't see anything over here that shows. You're basically looking for a collision of cold air that creates a vortex. Not seeing anything. Heavy rain in the Shreveport, Texarkana area. Rain starting to move up into southern Arkansas. I think predominantly the severe tornado type of activity is supposed to remain south in south central Louisiana, southern Louisiana, south central Mississippi, central Mississippi, western Alabama. It's going to go on into quite possibly the overnight hours. I mean, you talk about an energized storm system. I mean, this has already been going on for several hours, and it could potentially go on for several more. So very busy day down in the Gulf states. Keep an eye on the skies. Absolutely. I'm watching the skies from the radar, and you guys that are in the area, if you're in these areas, definitely keep an eye, at least one eye up on those skies, because this is a rapidly evolving storm system, which means tornadic activity, vortexes, severe thunderstorms can evolve very quickly as well. And the storm systems are moving very quickly, which is, a good thing. They're moving very quickly. Like I said, some at 50 miles per hour. Should be getting an update here. That's a mesostorm there. Is that what they saw? Yeah, mesocyclone. That's not a tornado, but that's showing rotation, 45 knots. It's not necessarily. It's a TVS. That's a tornado vortex signature that they saw in that area. Wasn't necessarily a full-blown tornado, but it was a signature that looked like a rotating cloud, basically. Did not form a tornado, which is good. Another meso strength there. Meso strength there. That's the one I saw east of Warren. I thought maybe there might have been one there. Low level velocity, 93 knots. So kind of, basically straight line winds in this area, so to speak. No tornadoes. Could have been. Thankfully, there wasn't. But the east of Warren, right in there. It's kind of what we were looking at. Oh, they extended it. See, it just updated. They extended that because this system here remains favorable for the formation of tornadoes. So now here we go. This area here from Newton, including Bon Weir, Kirbyville. That's the new location. That's a new tornado warning. If you're in those areas, seek shelter. Go to your safe spot. You guys have one. I know you do. This isn't your first rodeo. If you live in this area, you've been in tornadoes, you've been in hurricanes, you know the drill. But keep an eye out if you're in that area, because it could form a tornado very quickly. These storms are moving very fast. Look over here on the left real quick. Might be something up here in the Newton area, south of Newton. If you're south of Newton, I'd watch that area right there, pretty close. If you're south of Newton, right in this area here. I think I saw a rotation in that area. There's a lot of activity going on, so it's a little difficult to tell. But if you're in the area of Newton, right in here, be southeast of Jasper, northwest of Bonwire, north of Kirbyville. Did see something in that area south of Newton that did look like a possible tornado signature, but it's pretty difficult to decipher what's going on over here. I do see a couple of things over there that are favorable, look like tornado signatures, or at least a TVS. TVS is a tornadic vortex signature, possible TVS near the Newton area. Kirbyville, let's see if they've got the details. 27 minutes, it expires. Currently no text available. They're probably still getting it together because they just updated that 3 minutes ago. But they did extend the tornado warning that was down here to Newton, including Kirbyville and Bonwire. Not a densely populated area. It's north of DeQuincy. That's northwest of Lake Charles. And again, this energy is all moving in the direction of Lake Charles, in the direction of DeRidder, in the direction of Lafayette later on this morning. Probably, I don't know, just before lunchtime, Lafayette, northern New Orleans, Lake Charles, probably within the hour you could see some activity. Lake Charles is already under a tornado watch. And that system, all of the systems so far have been moving very quickly. Let's see if we can see something going on over here. Quite a bit going on, but don't see a specific TVS, but we'll know it if it's there. But this is the area right now, Kirbyville. Kirbyville is right in the middle. North of the tornado warned areas, Newton. Far east, Bonwire. Just outside of Maryville. This entire area here that spans a long ways from Lake Providence all the way down to Sabine Pass, Port Arthur, and just on the edge of Beaumont. All of this area you see here, this big long rectangle, is tornado watch, tornado warning right now in the Kirbyville area. Kirbyville area. Just have a safe spot. Common sense dictates in these types of situations you want to stay away from anything that can break. There's going to be flying projectiles. Flying projectiles can break glass. They can also penetrate walls. If you're in a structure that collapses, maybe loses a roof, the best place to be is an interior room where there's no glass. The first thing to go would be the first line of defense, which is the exterior walls. Hopefully it won't get to the interior walls. If you're in the direct path of a tornado, it could, but that's your safest place. You know, interior room with no glass. Stay away from that glass. And not only that, projectiles can, you know, penetrate, not only break glass, but they can penetrate. They've created a big opening once they penetrate the glass. So not only is the glass problematic, now the projectile is problematic because it's inside the wall. A lot of times if it hits the exterior wall, it sticks. You've all seen like a 2x4 stuck in the exterior wall of a home following a large tornado. In fact, there was a large tornado in Round Rock, Texas yesterday. They're saying it was a large wedge tornado, and that was one that we just looked at on that map. That would be, I believe, north of Austin. Let me get that back up here. Yeah, this area right here. Yeah, there it is, right there, Round Rock. Now, this could be the same tornado, like you see two tornado icons on here. That could be the same tornado, and that could be how long it was on the ground. Person 1 saw it over here. Person 2 saw it over here. But Round Rock, parts of Round Rock, saw a lot of damage yesterday. Tornado on the ground that was reported. And another one here, tornado damage report in Round Rock. And there was a lot of damage in Round Rock. Several homes, trees, and a lot of the power outages that we're seeing in Texas. In fact, let's look real quick. More than likely, that's the area that the power outages are probably most concentrated. Yeah. That's north of Houston, Milam County. You even got power outages up here on the Oklahoma-Texas border in the northern Texas panhandle. Those are the areas that contain most of the power outages that you see here on the map. And these will more than likely extend over into Louisiana, Mississippi, Arkansas. 8,339 power outages right now as I do this video. And those numbers are only going to increase as we move through this morning, this afternoon. Yes, y'all stay safe. Cathis L, that's good advice. Stay safe today. It's just not worth it to, you know, take your eyes off the skies today for you know, any length of time if you're in these areas, because as the day moves forward, no joke, the conditions are going to become even more favorable for tornadoes, and they're favorable right now. Tornado watches and warnings extending from Lake Providence, Louisiana, all the way down to the Louisiana-Texas border in the Beaumont-Port Arthur area. And those areas are no strangers to hurricanes. I remember Hurricane Harvey dropped quite a bit of rain in the Beaumont-Port Arthur area. In fact, record-setting rain. Hurricane Harvey was a unbelievable hurricane that stalled over the Texas coastline. I believe back in 2007, Category 4 storm. And, of course, Houston was heavily affected by Hurricane Harvey. When I saw the map at first, I thought, this is prior to Hurricane Harvey making landfall. Okay, I'm going back a few years as we're watching this radar very, very closely for the formation of tornadoes, because it is going to happen today, guys. So just be ready. Just reminiscing a little bit about Hurricane Harvey. I think it was back in 2017. Prior to Hurricane Harvey's landfall, and I'll show you where it was at. Hurricane Harvey, pulling this map out a little bit, was down in this area here, okay? And it was slowly making its way north. Slightly northeast, okay? And it crawled along the Texas coastline, and it had a, you know, a classic, you know, hurricane signature satellite presentation. Wasn't the biggest I'd ever seen, but it was slow, and it kept slowing down even more and more and more. I'm like, oh man. And before it made landfall, I have several weather apps that I use, and when I say several, I mean a lot. Because what I do, I collect the information, and then I look at the trends from all the different apps that I use, and then I, go from there. And I saw one that was just way in another galaxy with regard to rainfall totals. And it said like 48 inches of rain, near Houston. And I'm like, there's no way. I'd never seen that much before on a forecast. I'm like, that's got to be a mistake. And, I didn't even want to report that in, my weather report, but I did. I'm like, okay, if this thing drops 4 feet of rain, that's okay. If it was there for 2 days, that's an inch of rain an hour. That's if it rained nonstop for 48 hours. You get 48 inches of rain. Basic math, right? Well, it did all right, and it stalled, and it dropped in some areas, I think, 60 inches of rain. Unbelievable. So that weather map was correct, and it was the only one that showed that what looked like an anomaly. It really and truly did look like an anomaly. Never seen that before, but it was right. And I have great respect for that weather model. I really do. Still to this very day, I always will, because it got it right. So, yeah, I thought it was honestly, I thought it was a glitch. I'm like, 48 inches of rain. Are you serious? But it did. Okay, we're still under a tornado warning near the Kirbyville area. Okay, here's the update. Takes a minute to get the update. Tornado, I'm going to read what this is from the National Weather Service out of Lake Charles. Tornado warning remains in effect until 8:45 a.m. That would be local time, so you're looking at another, 18 minutes. At 8:25 a.m., a severe squall line, that's the one we've been watching here, capable of producing both tornadoes and extensive straight-line wind damage, was located near Kirbyville, moving northeast at 60 miles an hour. Flying debris will be dangerous, and that's one thing that we're seeing over here. It's still a little bit difficult to tell, but we've been watching this Kirbyville area very close, even up by South Newton. Sometimes that can indicate flying debris. I remember seeing that during the twin tornadoes of, 2020 or 2019 in central Mississippi. But this is what's going on here. There's not a organized tornado, but there is a system that's forming straight line winds moving through the area. So big heads up if you're in the Kirbyville area. Right now there's high winds, and it's moving east at a very quick pace. How fast was that moving again? 50 miles per hour? Oh my gosh, look at that. Are you serious? See, this can create spin-ups, guys. This is a big deal. Moving northeast at 60 miles per hour. And that's something I remember when the twin long-track hurricanes formed in central Mississippi a few years back. Those storms were moving at 55 all the way up to 75 miles per hour. That's how fast the storm system was moving. That had nothing to do with the wind speed, had nothing to do with the hail. That's how fast the storms were moving. Unbelievable. And they created long-track tornadoes. So with these storms moving as fast as they are, these too can create long-track, long-duration tornadoes. So just know that. I speak from experience. I remember seeing this years ago, well, a couple of years ago, whenever the twin tornadoes were in Mississippi. I think it was 2019 or 2020. But the storms back then had the same personality trait, moving very fast. Those high speeds can create spin-ups. It's not the speed of the storm itself. It's the speed of the storm itself in the environment that can create TVS tornado vortex signatures. And some do make contact with the ground, and once they do, they can stay there for a long time because there's the energy there to ensure that. Wow, those things are moving incredibly fast. I can't emphasize enough there's going to be tornadoes here today, guys, just based off of what we're seeing. Okay, just based off of what we're seeing, and of course the National Weather Service obviously has got warnings and watches all over the place because they're seeing, you know, conditions favorable for tornadoes, large hail. As the afternoon rolls on and these storms start to get taller and taller, you will see larger hail in these areas. Baseball size probably pretty easy. Oh, I'd say in several places baseball size would be quite easy with these storms. But it's those speeds, guys, those very high speeds. That's a sign that you could see long track tornadoes today. That's a sign. The high speed storms that are moving so fast, they hit any type of resistance and it creates spin, long spin on the ground. Okay, we're going to sorry guys, I'm just trying to analyze the map over here. I'm trying to see if there's any rotation. Believe it or not, this map is a wealth of information. Looks like a big mess, right? It's not, if you know what to look for. Right now I don't see any tornadoes on the ground, or in the air for that matter. But the storms are getting taller in this area, just north and east of Kirbyville. That energy right there, okay, that's going to be headed towards this community of Bon Weir. If I were in Bon Weir, this is forming now. This is getting stronger as it's moving away from Kirbyville. All right. So if you're east of Kirbyville, I'd be looking for an interior room. If you're in the path of, let's see, Bon Weir, anywhere in this area. Yeah. Okay. Here we go. So this is going to be our first one. What's this here? All right. Yeah, this is starting to get organized here, guys. Okay, so here we go. If you're east of Kirbyville, anywhere east of Kirbyville, this is Bon Weir. I'm not familiar with that community, but Bon Weir, be on the lookout. There could be a tornado in this area. We'll see what the next update brings. I'm just going to stay on this. I'm going to try to give you guys an advantage. We'll use all the resources that we have available to give you an early warning, a heads up. Those of you that are watching in these areas, I'm going to let you know to the very best of my ability if there's a tornado headed your way. Because this weather setup is the real deal. I'm not playing. It's the real deal. It's going to form tornadoes today. Strong tornadoes. And what I mean by strong is above EF2. EF2 and above. Okay, these are going to be strong, potentially long duration tornadoes. They're going to occur. And right now, what I'm seeing is east of Kirbyville. This system here, that's a strong straight line wind situation right there. But as this thing is evolving, it looks like, yeah, we're seeing, tremendous height increase that right in this area here. See that right there? Right there. Okay, that's evolving. Okay, you might have a tornado on the ground east of Kirbyville. Possible tornado. Okay. Let me go in a little closer. I can't. I gotta go off of this. Let's see. Yeah, I'm seeing the possibility of rotation east of Kirbyville. Yeah, in this area where they just moved it. Okay, so they've updated it. Let's see if we've got any. Yeah. Radar indicated rotation. Yeah, I'm seeing that too. That's what they're saying here. But this is from the National Weather Service. Let's see, out of what? Okay, that's the National Weather Service out of Norman, Oklahoma. Saw rotation, and no, this is the one that I wanted. Oh, okay, out of Oklahoma. What? I'm sorry, guys. I'm just thinking out loud here. I'm looking at this system right here. This tornado warning, not the watch. I know the watch. There we go. The warning. Tornado warning remains in effect until 8:45. Squall line moving very quickly. Again, that can create spin-ups, big time spin-ups. But I'm seeing something on radar that looks like a possible tornado now that's moving very quickly. Again, this would be east of Kirbyville. Wow, it just went from there to there super fast. Now moving up towards Newton. Okay, when I get quiet, I'm reading the map. All right, I'm sorry. I'm just looking at something over here is where I'm looking. Okay, nothing obvious. That means nothing, huge, but there could be rotation here for sure in this area that's, man, again, moving very fast, 60 miles an hour. Let's see. Is this the one that I want? No. This one. Okay, the system is here. So it's 7 miles from Newton. So moving at 60 miles per hour, it's going to be there in what, 10 minutes? Less than 10 minutes? So if you're in the Newton area, these storms are starting to get strong. Very strong. Heads up if you're in Newton. It would be Newton, Louisiana. Big heads up. Yeah, Newton, Louisiana. Whoop. Lightning starting to increase. Starting to see some activity over here now. That would be east of Hornbeck. Hornbeck's seeing some strong storms right now. Yeah, they're getting taller. They're starting to see increases of storm height, anywhere from 40 to 50,000 footers now. Starting to see that, at least in the 40,000 foot range, very consistently. When you get up into the 60,000 foot range, that's when these situations, can become quite ominous. To be honest with you, those are strong storms. 60,000 footers. I saw one earlier, but we're starting to see now a pattern as these things are evolving into stronger and taller storms, and that's from the sunlight that is appearing. It's daytime. Okay, well, I'll show you what I mean. Let's go to right here. See daylight moving in. It's obviously daytime here, but watch the clouds. These are the storms that we're following that are moving into Louisiana. See the cloud tops being illuminated by the sunlight? Well, that will create, thermal heating, and those storms will like reach up to that sunlight, and they'll get taller here. You'll see some very tall cloud tops in that area, large area. In fact, here's Lake Charles. Looks like they're seeing some activity right now. Oh yeah. Here you go. Here's a look at Lake Charles. Look at that. That's like 3 minutes ago. I'm sorry, 9 minutes ago. That's Lake Charles. That's what it looks like right now in the Lake Charles area, right here as it's starting to get daylight. See that? Wow. Squall line that just moved into Lake Charles. We need to check out Lake Charles. Yeah, Lake Charles is starting to get the leading edge of this squall line right now. Do not see any rotation in the Lake Charles area. But the storm system has reached Lake Charles. It's raining. Doesn't look like it on here, but it definitely is. A lot of activity today, guys. Just be ready. In fact, let's go down here real quick. See what we can see. There we go. Yeah, you can see the storms moving into the Lake Charles area. Absolutely. There we go. There's the tornado warning right there. This is Lake Charles radar. Now we've got this is a severe thunderstorm warning. Expires in 32 minutes. May not have any details yet. No, not yet. We'll come back to that when the details are available. But these squall lines are getting stronger, and the storms are evolving into stronger and stronger storms very quickly, to be honest. I was surprised to see Lake Charles. It looked almost dark in Lake Charles, and the sun's up. I mean, it's what, 8:43 in Lake Charles? It's daytime, and it looked absolutely dark. Close to it, look at that. That's right now in Lake Charles. You serious? Street lights are on. Look. Look at that. Looks like nighttime in Lake Charles. Wow. That's how fast this is moving. Severe thunderstorm just west of Lake Charles, headed towards DeQuincy. If you're in the DeQuincy area, DeQuincy, DeRidder, Leesville, Simpson, South Toledo Bend. See if we've got an update yet on this severe thunderstorm warning. Expires in 30 minutes. Still waiting on the details. Sometimes it takes about 5 minutes for that to update. They issued the warning because of what they saw on radar, and then they'll give the specific details as to what they saw. And sometimes it takes a couple of minutes to get updated. They're very busy here today. They've got a lot on their plate trying to keep an eye on all these storms. So there's a lot of them to watch. It's going to go on for hours. They're going to have to work in shifts. And we'll switch radars here in a minute. But you can see the satellite presentation doesn't look, that ominous down here in the Lake Charles area. But if you look at the satellite the webcam from the area, I mean, it looks like it's nighttime again. And that was 10 minutes ago. So it's just an idea of what's in store for today. for that area. See if we've got an update yet. Severe thunderstorm warning expires in 29 minutes. Don't be surprised if that morphs into a tornado warning. Wouldn't doubt it. Let's switch locations. We're going to go up here. Got a lot of windows open, so I'm trying to catch up too, just like those folks there are. Here's another look at the storms. This is the Ghost 16. I use this every single day, have for years. These have been at it for over 24 hours, and they're going to get stronger. You can see the cloud top starting to evolve into larger storms on the satellite presentation. Here we go. All right, we are back in business. You can see the long storm tracks here. See the lines here on the map? Some of those are quite lengthy, and what gives them the at least the opportunity to stay that long and strong is the high speed. I mean, these storms are moving in some cases at 60 miles per hour, so they can cover a lot more ground. That's why they have such long tracks, and that's why they're giving these tornadoes a opportunity to become long track tornadoes today, is because of the speed of the storms. Faster they're moving, the more ground they can cover, and then you have a long track tornado. That's why. If the storm system that has a tornado, I'm just using this as an example, storm system that has a tornado is moving at 15 miles per hour, well, then it's not going to cover much ground. Tornado in a storm system that's moving 60 miles per hour is easily going to be a long track tornado. No doubt about it. That's why they're confident in saying there could be long track tornadoes today, because of these high speed storms. It's not complicated. Here's the areas, storm systems moving to the northeast, and again, these are moving at a quite rapid pace, very fast. 50, 60 miles per hour is the common theme in these areas here. Yeah, this one's moving at, look at that, there right there, look. That storm is moving at 59 knots. It's over 50 miles per hour. Here we go. They're starting to get cranked up. "59 knots." And we're watching over here on the left for tornado signatures. So if we see one over here, we'll definitely get right on it. And I'm watching both sides. The reflective, this is called digital reflectivity. That's what you see on your, weather reports. And over here, this is a little different type of configuration. It's a correlation coefficient, and you can look for rotation. It'll show you rotation. And we're getting into more cleaner satellite presentations to where rotation will be easier to see. Over here, there's a lot of clutter, so it's next to impossible to see rotation in that area. Over here, you could definitely see rotation, so that's what we're watching for, is rotation on that map. Over here, we're looking at lightning, we're looking at cloud tops, And we're obviously watching the wind speeds. I'm sorry, not wind speeds, but forward speeds of these storms that are quite impressive, moving at 50 and 60 miles per hour. Those types of conditions will create long track tornadoes. I mean, look, you're seeing long track storms on here. Look at this. Look at the storms. Look how far those are spanning. Let's measure one here. Let's measure this one from Deweyville. Okay, that storm right there is anticipated to stay organized for over 80 miles. Okay? Because of its speed, it's moving forward at 59 knots. So if that had a tornado in it and it stayed organized for 82 miles, there you go. There's your long track tornado. Not saying there's one in that system, because there isn't. There's not a tornado in it. But I'm just saying, if there were, that's how you get a long track tornado. It's really very simple. It's not complicated. Just like the, interior room with no walls. You guys know the drill. You guys are experts on storms anyway down here. If you're in the southern Louisiana, southeastern Texas, Mississippi, Alabama, most of you people watching are storm experts. You know what to do in the case of a tornado or hurricane. You've probably been in them. I've been in them. I'm in Arizona, but I used to be from areas that were very storm active areas. Central Plains. I was in Tornado Alley for many years, and I was in the hurricane along the Florida coast. Was in 3 hurricanes. So I know what to do, just like you guys do. If you guys live in that area, you know what to do. I'm just trying to give you an additional heads up, that's all. You may not be able to keep an eye on the radar or have a, local news or whatever. I'm sure the local guys are on these storms as well. I mean, it's a pretty big deal. These storms are strong. So I'm just trying to give you guys an advantage, that's all. I want to see you stay safe. I don't like to see tornadoes hit communities. Don't like that at all. I can't do anything about it, but if I can give you, a couple of minutes heads up, maybe that can make a difference. And we're just trying to make a difference, that's all. We want to see you do well. Now, I don't want to see some tornado, I don't want to see one harm anybody. So if I can get you out of the way, great. And, we can learn some things along the way, and that's how, like I said earlier, how you forecast a long track tornado. You ask yourself, well, how would you know something like that in advance? Well, if you know how fast the storm systems are going to be moving, then you can calculate, well, you use a simple deduction approach. If there's a tornado in that fast moving storm, it's going to cover a lot of ground. So the sun's coming up. These storms are going to reach higher and higher up into the atmosphere. It's going to make them stronger. It's going to make them more complex. And it's going to give them more tools to, with regard to, hail and high winds, straight line winds, and of course, vertical integrated liquid. That's the VIL. How much water content is in these storms. You're going to see a lot more TVSs, tornado vortex signatures, and then eventually they're going to make contact with the ground. And tornadoes start out invisible, and I'm sure you guys knew that. What makes them visible is the debris that they pick up on the ground. Otherwise, you wouldn't see it. Yeah, sometimes tornadoes are hard to see, especially if they're coming directly at you. If you're at an angle, a side view from a tornado, when it first spawns, sometimes, it depends on the situation and location and geography of the ground. I saw a tornado. I've actually seen 3, but one of the main ones I saw it come down out of the sky because I was watching the cloud. There was one dark cloud over the the town that I was approaching that looked pretty ominous. But to the north and south of the cloud, it was actually clear. And then all of a sudden, I see this cone form in the sky, and the cloud was very dark. So that gave, people that were watching the storm an advantage. You could see it, and it made contact with the ground. But once it made contact with the ground, that's when it became very, very obvious, because it was pulling up dirt. It was above. And when I mentioned geography, what I was talking about, like, it was above a cornfield, an old cornfield that had already been harvested. So it was on top of fresh dirt, and that dirt quickly got pulled up into the air, and that dirt revealed the vortex. So there you had it. It was a brown tornado, and I saw siding, aluminum siding, rotating, and it looked like it was in slow motion, believe it or not, at the top of the tornado. It had hit a shed and picked up the siding of this aluminum shed and lifted the siding all the way up to the top. And then the funnel from the ground up to the top was dirt. So then you could see it quite easily. So it's not always the case when a tornado's in a city above concrete. They don't pick up dirt like that. So sometimes they can be hard to see. But right now, north of Bon Weir, that's that storm we were following when it was just west of Bon Weir. It's now made it over there, so it's raining at the very least very heavily. You see heavy rain in that area, straight line winds. Again, these storms are moving very, very quickly. It's already there and moving past the area. That's how quick these storms are moving. At 59 knots, over 50 miles per hour. Let's see what this one's moving at. 48 knots. This one's 59 knots. 47 knots. 59 knots. Unreal. 35, that one's a little slower. This one here is just developing, just starting to evolve. Look at that. Are you serious? 65 knots. So if that one were to develop a tornado, look at how far that thing goes. Look at that. That would be your tornado track. See what I mean? If this system, which it hasn't yet, there's no tornado here. So I'm just saying, we're just using this as educational purposes. If this system here were to develop a tornado and it were to stay organized, it would have the potential to go that far. There's the track. That would be the track of the potential tornado. And it would go for, let's take a look, 73 miles potentially, if that storm stayed organized. 73 miles. There's the cloud tops, getting taller and taller, 54,000 feet, 50,000 feet. Pretty consistently in these areas of dark orange, dark red. That means they're getting stronger. They're evolving into stronger storms, covering more ground. This has changed a lot since we started following these storms, an hour ago. How long it's been? An hour and a half ago. Hey, Tanya. Thank you, Tanya. Very kind. Let's zoom in here. This is the area we're trying to keep an eye on right now. I mean, this is going to go on all day. You can see they're starting to get very strong through here, guys. It'll be east of Lumberton, north of Beaumont. If you're in the Buna area, B-U-N-A, very strong storms there right now. Don't see, it's just difficult to tell. I could definitely see tornado rotation up here if it were there. It's not there right now. Everything's all good. I mean, you've got rain, maybe some wind, a little bit of lightning. Nothing severe in the Jasper, Hemphill, Browndell area. It's along the line from north of Beaumont up through Kirbyville. Kirbyville's still in the action. It was in the action earlier. See how quick these storms are moving. This one has seen two systems move through in the last 20 minutes. And they're evolving into stronger storms. When we start to see pink on this radar over here, dark pink, light pink, it's on. Okay. When we start to see those colors change and evolve into, colors of pinks, you don't want to see, like white on here. But if we see pink on here, we know we got a lot of activity in that area. Very strong activity that would probably require getting into an interior room with no glass. Yeah, that's usually a pretty good indication of high winds, large hail, and severe downpours. Okay, right now, guys, the map that we are zeroed in on is in southwestern and across central Louisiana. Here's where we're at. See the big circle here? And the cities that we're focusing on, DeRidder, Alexandria is starting to get into the mix. These storms are starting to evolve into stronger storms. As forecasted. It's not a surprise. That's what was being forecasted. And I was watching this area a week ago. I saw the conditions starting to lean towards severe weather a week ago. And basically what I saw was atmospheric instability in this area. Started out in Texas and then slowly moved across the southern Gulf states. And it did materialize. Sometimes, a week away, every forecast is going to change to some degree. But this one stayed pretty solid. In fact, it stayed the same for several days. I was surprised it didn't change much. And this system is moving. If we retreat out a little bit, and I'll show you where it's going. It's going towards central Mississippi. It's going to be in central northern Louisiana all day long. All day long. In fact, I think this tornado watch is for another 5 hours. And it will probably get extended. Yeah, 5-hour tornado watch. And these storms are moving fast. Moving very fast. So let's see here. Let's go back to some cameras. Again, this is the Lake Charles area. And you can see Lake Charles on the map. Looks like nighttime. Cars have their headlights on. Street lights are on not sure what road that is. Lake Charles. It's daytime in the Lake Charles area. See the cloud top starting to illuminate from the sunshine. Here's a camera this is in north central Louisiana. And you can see it's just raining there right now, a little bit of rain, nothing severe going on in that area. Power outages probably going to increase as we move out. Yeah, 60,000 customers in Texas, 8,000 Oklahoma, 6,000 in Arkansas, even almost 5,000 customers in Kansas, 3,400 in New Jersey. Here's the storm as it's making its way through Louisiana. Here we go. Zoom out a little bit. Refresh the page. We'll wait for that to come back up. And this is where we're at, guys. Right now, the primary focus is central Louisiana and south central Louisiana. But this is moving very, very quickly. Very quickly. It's going to be in Mississippi in no time. No time. And these storms are going to increase in strength very quickly. They already are. So I know you guys have a safe place already in order. So be prepared to use it. All right, guys. I had to step out for just a second. What I'm going to do is find some more cameras. So stick around. I'll be right back in just a second.